I was not expecting to do the review right now, but I'm pretty sure you guys all know what is going on in the sports world, and that earlier today the Milwaukee Bucks decided to boycott their Game 5 against the Magic in protest of the police shooting of Jacob Blake. And then after that, pretty much all the NBA team decided to do the same thing. We also saw a couple of games around MLB tonight being postponed. And then coming into this game between Orlando City versus Nashville SC, there was a lot of question of whether if this one and the rest of the game was going to be postponed. Well, this game did take place as scheduled, but in the Inter Miami versus Atlanta game, after about a 20-minute delay of the game being kicked off, it was decided that that game, of course, was postponed. And just like what happened with the NBA, where if one game gets postponed because of the ongoing protest of the police shooting of Jacob Blake, every game gets canceled, and that the rest of the game tonight and what was supposed to be a very busy night for me, and that I was supposed to do a review about 4 hours from what I am doing right now, has now been postponed to a later day. Now, in this game, I know there's going to be a lot of criticism, and rightfully so. There's going to be a lot of criticism of the fact that this game was scheduled to be played, and especially what happened early in this game, because right as the game was about to start, and you know how every single MLS game we have seen so far has been players taking a knee before a couple of seconds ago, or a second later they of course would continue to play. Well, in this game, that is not what happens. They did play the national anthem, and while the Nashville player did take a knee, I did see a couple of Orlando City players decide not to take a knee. And then right as we were about to start the game, you were thinking that, well, players are just going to take their 5-second knee to, of course, show solidarity of the Black Lives Matters movement, and it did not happen. And when the whistle was blown, they were going to do it, but then they kind of hesitated and then just kept playing in the game. And that this is the first time we have seen where in a game where players did not take a knee before the game, of course, or starts. And that is one of the many criticism of what happened in this game, that a lot of fans are not going to be happy with the way that this game was actually even being played in the first place. But either way, 3 minutes into this game, Denladi almost made it 1-0, but unfortunately hits it over the bar, which kind of just summarized Nashville SC in general in their MLS this season, where they just have been absolutely shocking in terms of going forward on the attack. Now, DK did hit the side netting as he went through on goal, and I thought it was really end-to-end in the first couple of minutes of this game. But it would be Nashville, the one that gets the opening goal, and it would be Dave Romney who scores his first ever goal for Nashville from Hani Mukhtar to give Nashville SC a 1-0 lead. And this one was coming from a set piece. And I talk about in that Nashville versus Atlanta match in the last game where Nashville's got to improve their set piece. Like, if this is a team that is going to score goals, only rely on set piece and try to maybe counter, they need to do much better in terms of what I've been seeing them for the first couple of games. And that time, it was a much better delivery from Hani Mukhtar, which Romney, all he had to do was just take a tiny flick or a tiny flick to redirect the ball into the back of the net. And just like that, Nashville has a 1-0 lead, although that lead did not last very long, because 5 minutes later, Chris Mueller would basically hit that one in from the ground from Matinho and Pereira. Willis would then rob Matinho a chance to take the lead, as Orlando City was very hungry to try to get the second goal. In the second half, I want to kind of mention that the Orlando broadcast didn't acknowledge of the situation with the league decided to cancel the rest of the game because of what happened earlier today. And I was shocked the fact that they did not acknowledge, and that it only took until the 55th minute when they acknowledged it. And even so, when the main commentator acknowledged the situation, it was kind of a little bit of a half-ass with the way that he was trying to acknowledge it. And he didn't even did it get the information correctly when he mentioned the fact that the league is decided to boycott the game because of the protest of the killing of Jacob Blake, even though Jacob Blake did not get killed in that instant. And that was really one of the biggest misunderstanding in terms of this situation, where despite the fact that we saw like a police shooting, unlike the whole George Floyd situation, where unfortunately that of course what was the situation where the police officer eventually killed George Floyd. This was not the case where Jacob Blake did get paralyzed because of the shooting. And it actually took until the 91st minute of this game when he basically just say, oh yeah, my bad in terms of what I just said about the misinformation, but come on, Orlando City broadcast team, you got to do better in terms of that. And especially with the ongoing criticism I know that this game has been received. The last thing you need to do is just try to make to talk about misinformation, or not even talk about this whole thing until the 55th minute. And that, yeah, it was just kind of insane, the fact that it took them that long in terms of finally get the notion of what is actually going on around the league. Now, in the 52nd minute, Daryl DK would score from Pereira and Mueller, and this DK kid let the hype train start to roll, because this kid in these first two games, he has been just on fire with the way that he's playing. Like, he's already got 3 goals in his first 2 games, and then as much as it's very easy to basically hyped up of this kid to become one of the hottest prospects in MLS, it's also easy to remember that it's only been 2 games, and so far he has had an incredible 2 games with Orlando City. But if he can keep this up, this is really the answer that Orlando City has been desperately wanted to know for this team, which is who's actually going to be the number 9 that's going to score the goals for them. And I don't think a lot of people would have thought that Daryl DK would be the answer of their question of who is going to be that number 9 player that will score the goals for them. Now, in the 61st minute, Leao hits the post as Nashville almost tied the game up. But then it would be DK again that were able to score. And what a great recognition that was from DK after Willis, of course, made a good save. But unfortunately, he basically palmed a juicy rebound right back to DK, who just easily tapped it into the back of the net to make it 3-1. Then Willis had to deny Urso as Orlando was really hungry for the 4th goal. And that, I think if it wasn't for Joe Willis in this game, this could have been at least 5-1 in favor of Orlando City. Like this, he basically saved this one to be an utter embarrassment for Nashville SC. But other than that, this was probably the worst performance that Nashville SC has done throughout their entire existence in MLS. And that, let's just hope that this is just kind of one of those games where nothing kind of went right for them, and that this is not really a trend where things are going to go bad. Because if this is the case, if they're all of a sudden their defense cannot defend, and we already know the struggle that they have on the attack, they are definitely in serious trouble right now, and they are staring on the eye of becoming another FC Cincinnati. And that unfortunately kind of proves me right of the fact that all these signings that they made this offseason kind of looks very FC Cincinnati like, and I was really hoping that wasn't going to happen. Well, it looks like it has happened again, and that they are really gunning for FC Cincinnati's spot as one of the worst expansion teams that we have seen this season. Now, in terms of shots in this game, 17 shots compared to 16 that Nashville has, 8 shots on goal compared to 4 that Nashville has, 5 shots off target compared to 7 that Nashville has, 4 shots that was blocked compared to 5 that Nashville has. Possession-wise, 61% possession compared to 39% possession. Now, tomorrow, I was also planning to do the preview for the weekend's game, but because of the uncertainty right now of whether or not if this situation with all these postponement and the boycott that is going on is going to be maybe going to be longer than the one game that we see today, or the one day that we see today, I have no idea if the weekend's game is even going to play it too. So tomorrow I'm going to have to make a big decision of whether or not if I'm going to do the preview for the weekend's game or not, because if I do the preview for the weekend's game and then I later found out that the weekend's game have been postponed, I basically just wasted my time doing the preview, and I really don't want to do so. So yeah, tomorrow you pretty much will find out whether or not if I'm gonna do the preview. If I'm not gonna upload a video, that means I have made my decision to not do the preview. But if I did do the preview, then yeah, I made my decision in terms of making the preview and really hoping that the weekend's game are not going to be postponed, and all the effort that I made during the preview tomorrow is not going to be wasted. But that being said, let me know in the comments below what do you think of this game. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys do a like, smash the subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.